Education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather make a man a more clever devil. Someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. No man knows how bad he is till he has tried very hard to be good. If we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. In our own case, we accept excuses too easily. In other people's, we do not accept them easily enough. Of all the bad men, religious bad men are the worst. We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. When you are arguing against God, you are arguing against the very power that makes you able to argue at all. It is not your business to succeed, but to do right. When you have done so, the rest lies with God. Don't let your happiness depend on something you may lose. We're not doubting that God will do the best for us. We're wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. God has infinite attention to spare for each one of us. You are as much alone with Him as if you were the only being He had ever created. Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man. If you want a religion to make you feel really comfortable, I certainly don't recommend Christianity. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. To be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable, because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you. God intends to give us what we need, not what we now think we want. Human history is the long, terrible story of a man trying to find something other than God, which will make him happy. Do not waste time bothering whether you love your neighbor. Act as if you do, and you will presently come to love him. God allows us to experience the low points of life, in order to teach us lessons that we could learn in no other way. We regard God as an M and regards His parachute. It's there for emergencies, but He hopes He'll never have to use it. The heart never takes the place of the head, but it can and should obey it. Love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good, as far as it can be obtained. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. You must ask for God's help. After each failure, ask forgiveness, pick yourself up, and try again. Faith is the art of holding on to things your reason has once accepted in spite of your changing moods. Free will, though it makes evil possible, is also the only thing that makes possible any love or goodness or joy worth having. One road leads home and 1,000 roads lead into the wilderness. If God had granted all the silly prayers I've made in my life, where should I be now? No good work is done anywhere without aid from the Father of lights. Now is our chance to choose the right side. God is holding back to give us that chance. It won't last forever. We must take it or leave it. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. If God forgives us, we must forgive ourselves, otherwise it's like setting up ourselves as a higher tribunal than Him. Everyone says forgiveness is a lovely idea until they have something to forgive. Once in our world, a stable had something in it that was bigger than our whole world. Relying on God has to begin all over again every day, as if nothing had yet been done. All these toys were never intended to possess my heart. My true good is in another world, and my only real treasure is Christ. To walk out of His will is to walk into nowhere. Love is something more stern and splendid than mere kindness. What draws people to be friends is that they see the same truth. They share it. When we lose one blessing, another is often most unexpectedly given in its place. God, who foresaw your tribulation, has specially armed you to go through it, not without pain but without stain. We may ignore, but we can nowhere evade, the presence of God. The world is crowded with Him. He walks everywhere incognito. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks to us in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. The instrument through which you see God is your whole self. And if a man's self is not kept clean and bright, his glimpse of God will be blurred. The door on which we have been knocking all our lives will open at last. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." It is not out of compliment that lovers keep on telling one another how beautiful they are. The delight is incomplete till it is expressed. It is safe to tell the pure in heart that they shall see God, for only the pure in heart want to. Being in love first moved them to promise fidelity. This quieter love enables them to keep the promise.